Chapter 27. There are so many questions running through Rosner's mind, he cannot keep his thoughts straight. He does not trust himself to speak. What will come out is bound to be babbling nonsense. Yet, eventually, he does manage one question. One simple question with many possible answers. Why are you here? Silence. Rosner asks again. Cyan and Huon shift uncomfortably in their chairs. Why am I here? Rosner asks more forcibly than he intends. But he is suddenly filled with an overwhelming sense of frustration that it does not matter. Why does nothing about his life make sense? It is like the gods are acting against him, and he does not know why. Huon sighs. Tyriane brought you in. You have become a member of the Rose, whether you like it or not. This organization is a highly secret group of individuals set on dethroning the High King. We have resources in every major city. Every move we make is carefully planned over several cycles. But during the planning, Cyan adds, many of us do not have anything to do, unless you are part of an active mission. Huon clears his throat before saying, You see, Tyriane was intrigued by how much is unknown about you. He asked us to acquaint ourselves. Cyan nods. He is a member of the Garden, though some argue the legalities of such. He mostly acts as an advisor than anything else. Rosner leans back. With answers come more questions than he started with. The trouble is, he is not sure what those questions are. Then without thinking, Rosner asks, that moment in the alleyway. Huon nods. Tyriane requested it. Rosner nods, then slowly waves at the group, saying, So, what is this then? We are here, Cyan explains, because Tyriane wanted us to visit the Phoenix to request. But why am I here? Rosner demands. He feels his blood heat up again. Before he speaks, he takes a breath. You could have come without me. I am not needed. There is no reason for me to be here if it was just about the library. Whether anyone plans to answer or ponder their thoughts, Rosner's answer is cut short by Keisha throwing open the door. She stares at everyone with eyes of disbelief. After an extended period in which she overcomes her apparent shock, she whispers, Tyriane's request has been approved. In all her shock and excitement, Keisha fails to realize it is her request to speak with the Phoenix that is approved. Of course, they find this out the following day when she is unable to display the seal of approval from the Phoenix at the library entrance. An annoyed Kenyu leads them to meet with the Phoenix, only to be told he would not meet anyone that day. Or the day after. Another week passes before someone seeks them out to announce their attendance is required. So now they stand outside the throne room, waiting for admittance. On the other side of the large oak doors sits a statue of the Phoenix standing guard, plated gold resting on ashen-colored pedestals. Strange symbols decorate the door and its frame in gold and silver. Like when Rosner first appeared before these doors, two members of the Order in red robes and gold tassels block the way. Both keep their heads down, their hands hidden within long sleeves before them. One male, one female. Both human, both expressionless. The man, though young, is bald. The woman's hair cut short. Neither one makes eye contact with any of them, but Rosner feels like they are not only watching them, but bearing into their souls. The group has been instructed not to speak. In the distance, a bell chimes. 2 hours since the group first stepped in front of these doors. Yuan seems to be the most patient of them. Kanyu, on the other hand, has grown quite frustrated. Cyan appears uneasy as she fidgets with her hands, probably unconsciously. Then there is Kisra, who has maintained her excitement since arriving. Silently, of course. As for Rosner, he does not know how he feels. From what he knows, he's the only one in their group to meet the Phoenix, and it did not go very well. But he is not irritated or nervous. Annoyed, perhaps. Annoyed at how long they have been waiting just so the Phoenix can berate them when they are admitted. Annoyed that the berating will only be that. He finds it doubtful they will receive his seal of approval, save maybe the approval to never return. What does anger him is that he is wasting his life away with this ruler who cares for only his subjects, when he can be out there helping his brother. But he has to remind himself that this needs to happen before Rosner can help Kadoric. He begins clenching and unclenching his fists to get his temperament under control. A few moments later, the robed figures push the doors open in silence and wave them in. Once through, 2 similar figures with hoods up close the doors behind him. Like before, the Phoenix resides on his throne, arms resting on either side of him. He watches them with disinterest, but Rosner suspects it's a facade. He has questions, and he wants answers. Kishra strides ahead of them and pauses a short distance from the dais base before bowing deeply. "Phoenix," she announces, "I humbly appreciate your agreeance to allow this meeting." She then rises and states, "And I know my mentor equally gives thanks." Rosner holds his tongue. Given his previous interaction, he knows the Phoenix to be very informal when comparing it to such a meeting with other rulers. Likewise, the Phoenix does not break his composure. Instead, he lets Kisra continue. "You see, my mentor has been seeking approval to review your library for longer than I can remember. He believes it houses documents of high importance to his research. If he..." The Phoenix holds up a hand in a lazy motion. Even staring at the back of her head, Rosner can tell Kisra is panicking. "What does he hope to find?" the Phoenix asks. "This mentor of yours?" Kisra stumbles on her words. The others stay their tongues. In the presence of royalty, they have been told to hold their thoughts unless addressed. Rosner follows suit, not because of regal practice, but because he is curious as to how this will play out. The Phoenix presses on. "Does this mentor hope to find anything?" More mumbling. "Am I to conclude you know nothing of the contents of the letter for which he tasked you with delivering?" An increasingly annoyed Phoenix inquires. Finally, Kisra manages a few words. You have read the letter?" Rosner watches the Phoenix's expression shift. He is losing interest in this conversation. "Yes," the Phoenix states, "but I would rather hear the reason from the mouth of its deliverer." Kisra nods, but takes a moment to collect herself. Although I do not know the exact contents," she begins, "I am aware my mentor is looking for information on the gods, their origin, and with it, the origin of all creatures." She takes a deep breath. I'm afraid I do not know the reasons for such an endeavor, but it is what he wishes. The phoenix bobs his head along with Kisra's words, letting a long pause stand between them. Finally, he says, "Denied." Kisra's shoulders fall. "What?" is all she can muster. Aside from Rosner, they all seemed shocked by his announcement. Then Huon steps forward and does a half bow before speaking. "Phoenix, if I may, why have you denied our request?" The God King eyes the orc, no doubt formatting a calculated response. Instead, he stands. The response of Kunyu, Cyan, Kisra, and Huon is immediate. They all fall to their knees, heads bowed. Rosner watches them, confused. Cyan hisses at him to do the same when she takes notice of him standing. However, Rosner has his eyes locked on the phoenix, who slowly makes his way towards them. Towards him. "Why have I denied your request?" The phoenix repeats. "I do so because I see no benefit in it concerning me or my people. For such a request to waste my attention, I have half a mind to bar you from re-entering the city." He stops a stride away from Rosner. They hold each other's gaze. For the briefest second, Rosner swears the man's eyes flash gold. "However," the God King continues, "due to certain circumstances, you may be in luck." The phoenix turns away from Rosner and sweeps around the others, saying, "You want information? I want information. I am willing to make an exchange." "But, Phoenix," Cyan says, exasperated, what information can we possibly offer you?" "You can offer me nothing," the phoenix says plainly. A brief pause, then, "However, the one who does not kneel can." Rosner's face grows hot. He does not know why, but the man infuriates him. Still, he tries to remain in control. "And what can I offer you?" Rosner asks. The phoenix turns around to face Rosner at the base of the dais. A passive expression, but his words are sharp. "Who told you your brother was possessed by a shade of Asander?" Slowly, each of his companions turns their heads towards him with varying expressions. He himself holds in a wave of fear. Of the many small details about his life Rosner did not want to tell the group, there are obvious reasons he avoided this one. He's not afraid of violence or anger. No. He was afraid that they would run from him, thinking being around him might risk Asander finding them, even though he has not had a hold in this realm since the war. Rosner takes a deep breath. So, this is where they find out everything worthwhile about him. "An old man," Rosner says. "He never talked to anyone until then. When he did, he introduced himself as Polfrey." The phoenix stares at Rosner. "Polfrey?" Rosner nods. Suddenly, the God King breaks into a smile and lets out a bark of laughter. Everyone else exchanges confused looks. "So, that is where he has been hiding all these years." He paces a moment, then asks, "So, I suppose he found it?" Rosner hesitates to respond. "Oh, never mind," the phoenix answers himself. "You would not know what he is searching for. Still, you have seen him. Has he been missing?" Rosner asks. The phoenix seems to barely hear him. He answers, but distractedly. "No, No, he says, hiding for several generations. Then all at once the phoenix goes rigid, his voice sharp. He stares at one of the phoenix statues, but speaks to Rosner. You said you wanted my help healing your brother. What were you told could save him? Their air around them seems to grow cold. Rosner swallows. Master Elixir, he announces. The phoenix turns towards Rosner. His eyes flash gold again. He is sure of it. Gets colder. Is the phoenix glowing? And who told you about it? The God King persists. Pulfrey. Do not lie to me. I am not. You are! Can he see his breath? Why is it so cold? The phoenix takes a step towards him, saying, Pulfrey always chooses his words wisely. He would not bring up something such as that without due cause. So, I ask again, who told you of the elixir? I may not be able to know a lie like Perelios, the phoenix cuts in, but I am very good nonetheless. Do not test me. Rosner sighs. Ira, he prays, give me strength. It was the Death King of the Seven Realms. Oddly, the room warms up again. However, Rosner still feels the cold glare of those with him. The phoenix's expression resumes its stoicness. He seems to look beyond Rosner and says, I see. Then he walks back to his seat in a sort of trance. As he takes his place, he says, We are done here. Behind the group, the two guards stir. Everyone rises and makes no fuss as they are led to the door. Rosner keeps his head forward, unable to meet any of their eyes. The disappointment, the anger. Why is it nothing so simple? Back in the room, more silence. Rosner sits on the edge of the bed while Cyan, Kanyu, and Kisra stare at him from the table. Huon stares out the window. It is unbearable, but he does not know what to say to break it. Thankfully, someone does it for him. Unfortunately, it is the one person he would rather stay quiet. The Death King of the Seven Realms? Kisra huffs. She lets out a dry, almost hysterical laugh. Rosner tries to say something. You know he is supposed to be dead, right? The last account of him dates back to the second age of the direwolf, with High King Estil. Kisra shoots out of her chair, throwing it to the floor. And do you know what happened during that account? What I am talking about, of course, you do not. He killed tens of thousands by himself. Imagine what he will do now. Cyan steps behind Kisra and gently seats her back down, talking in a hushed tone. Kanyu clears his throat. Although she briefly lost herself, Kisra is correct. This is no minor issue. It is odd. Of all the things that have set off the dwarf, he stays collected for this. Rosner would rather have him yelling and stomping around. It would feel more natural. From Kisra's side, Cyan looks at Rosner and asks, When were you going to tell us? Rosner shrugs despite himself. I did not think it important. Kanyu stands abruptly. Apparently, this is the key ingredient. Not important, he demands. Not important is saying you do not sleep well. Not important is saying your love left. This is probably the single most important thing you could have told us. Is there anything else you care to clue us in on? Cyan asks, now from her seat. Her voice is calm, but there is malice to it. Not that he cares to. No. Now calmer than before, Kisra asks, So, what now? We did not get permission to review the library, and now this. I say, hold that thought, can you? Huan cuts in. He turns away from the window. We have a visitor. A few tense minutes later, an order member wearing a blue robe and green tassel with his hood down appears in the doorway. Without a word, he prefers a sealed letter to Huan and leaves. The orc takes it gently and stares at it. He breaks the seal and reads its contents. Then he stares at the group in disbelief. We have been granted approval to enter the library,